Have you ever burned your toast and thought, oh, that's probably bad for me? Some people even say burnt food causes cancer. Sounds scary, right? But is it actually true? Let's take a calm, close look at what's happening. Think about your morning routine. You stir half asleep. You put bread in the toaster. Maybe you can check your phone. Maybe you start brewing coffee. The toast pops up and it's darker than you expected. Some people scrape off the black parts, some eat it anyway. Some people throw it out and vow never to toast again. And a lot of people worry because they've heard the news. Burnt toast is dangerous. It contains scary chemicals. Let's slow down and look at the science. No fear, no exaggeration, just chemistry. When bread browns, a chemical reaction is happening. It's called the Maillard reaction. Don't worry about the name. What matters is what it does. When heat meets sugars and proteins in bread, they react. That reaction makes toast brown. It gives the smell, flavor, and crunchy texture we love. The same reaction happens in cookies, roasted coffee, and grilled meat. It says why food tastes good. It's completely normal, but there's a difference between golden brown and black char. When the heat keeps going, some of the starches in bread break down further, and that's when a chemical called acrylamide can form. Acrylamide is not something added to your bread. It forms naturally when starchy foods are cooked at high temperatures for a long time. That's why very dark toast, fries, or over-roasted coffee can contain it. Here says the myth. Any burnt toast is dangerous and can give you cancer. Let's look at the facts. Yes, acrylamide can cause cancer in animals, but only at extremely high doses, much higher than what humans normally consume. In studies, rats and mice were given thousands of times more acrylamide than a person would eat from toast. At those levels, cancer risk increased. But in real life, people do not consume those amounts. Population studies following large groups of people eating normal diets have not shown clear evidence that burnt toast causes cancer. The same goes for fries, roasted coffee, or other starchy foods cooked too long. So eating a slightly dark piece of toast every once in a while is not dangerous. The key point is dose and frequency. Eating heavily charred foods all the time over many years could increase risk, but an occasional burnt toast, not something to panic about. Chemistry in the kitchen is not about scary labels. It's about understanding reactions, exposure, and moderation. So what should you actually do? Aim for golden brown toast, not black. If it's set slightly overdone, scraping is fine. If it's completely burnt, toss it. It won't harm you to start fresh. You don't need to obsess. You don't need to feel guilty. Enjoying your food is part of life. The chemistry just helps you make smarter, calmer choices. Remember, the Maillard reaction is your friend. It gives flavor and aroma to your breakfast. Just don't push it too far. Chemistry isn't something to fear. It's a tool that helps us understand food, flavor, and even safety. So toast your bread, enjoy the golden smell, and don't worry too much about a little char. Good chemistry usually tastes better anyway. Have you ever watched a bag of microwave popcorn puff up and wondered, could this snack be slowly harming me? Some people worry about chemicals in the bag or the butter flavoring. Sounds alarming, but is it really true? Let's take a calm, close look at the science behind your favorite movie snack. Think about it. It's Friday night. You sit down to watch a movie. You grab a bag of microwave popcorn. You hear the kernels popping. The smell hits, buttery and warm. It's just nostalgic. It's just comforting. And for many of us, it's a routine treat. But somewhere along the way, you may have heard Microwave popcorn has dangerous chemicals. And suddenly, what should be a simple snack feels complicated. So, what's actually happening inside that bag? There are two main chemical concerns people talk about: the bag coating. Some older microwave popcorn bags used a chemical called PFOA to prevent sticking. The buttery flavor, natural or artificial butter flavoring, sometimes contains diacetyl, which gives that rich popcorn taste. Let's break it down. PFOA, or perfluoctanoic acid, was once used in some non-stick coatings. In very high amounts, it can be harmful. But here's the key. Most modern popcorn bags no longer contain PFOA. Manufacturers removed it years ago. Then there's this diacetyl, the buttery flavorings. Workers in factories inhaling large amounts of diacetyl over long periods develop lung issues. But eating popcorn at home is very different. The tiny amount in a bag does not reach those levels. So in real life, your kitchen popcorn is not the same as industrial inhalation exposure. Microwave popcorn is full of dangerous chemicals, and eating it will harm you. Here sets the truth. Modern microwave popcorn bags are generally free from harmful PFOA. The buttery flavoring in small amounts is safe to eat. Risk is only real when workers inhale concentrated diacetyl over the years in factories, not from home use. Health organizations and studies agree occasional consumption is safe. The media sometimes exaggerates this because the chemical names sound scary. But remember, chemistry is neutral. Dose matters. Context matters. So what should you actually do? Use microwave popcorn as intended. If you want extra caution, look for brands labeled PFOA-free or natural flavorings. Open the bag carefully to avoid steam burns. Don't inhale directly over a freshly popped bag, just in case. The biggest takeaway: enjoy the snack without fear. Chemistry is helping you understand why it's safe in moderation. Chemicals often get a bad reputation, but understanding them keeps us calm and informed. So go ahead, pop a bag, enjoy the aroma, and remember, science is on your side when you snack wisely. Have you ever seen MSG on a food label and thought, wait, is that going to make me sick? Some people call it a chemical villain in restaurants and processed foods. But is that really true? Let's take a calm look at the science behind MSG. Think about this. You're at home cooking or maybe ordering takeout. You notice MSG in the ingredient list. Maybe someone once told you MSG causes headaches or Chinese restaurant syndrome. Suddenly you're wary of adding seasoning or eating your favorite foods. It's easy to feel anxious when a label says chemical, especially one with letters that don't make sense. But most of us encounter MSG every day without even realizing it. It's in cheese, tomatoes, soy sauce, mushrooms, and yes, many processed foods. So what exactly is MSG? MSG stands for monosodium glutamate. It's a combination of glutamate, which is a naturally occurring amino acid, and sodium. Glutamate is present in many foods naturally. It's what gives food a savory, meaty taste called umami. In fact, cooking tomatoes, mushrooms, or Parmesan cheese releases natural glutamates. MSG is simply a purified version used to enhance flavor. It doesn't create new chemicals or artificial compounds. It sets just flavor in a convenient form. Now for the myths. Myth 1: MSG gives most people headaches or reactions. Truth: studies show that most people tolerate MSG very well. Only a small fraction may have mild reactions if they consume very large amounts on an empty stomach. Myth 2: MSG is unnatural and harmful. Truth. Glutamate is natural and present in almost all protein-containing foods. It's not a toxic chemical added to make you sick. Myth 3. MSG causes long-term health problems. Truth. Population studies and decades of research show no convincing evidence linking MSG to chronic disease when consumed normally. So while MSG has a scary reputation, the facts are clear. It's safe for most people in moderation. What should you actually do? Don't fear MSG. It's just flavor. If you are sensitive, consume smaller amounts or choose foods naturally low in added MSG. Focus on your overall diet, not a single ingredient. The main point, moderation is key, not avoidance. Using MSG wisely can make your meals tastier and more satisfying. Remember, chemistry is a tool, not a villain. It explains why food tastes good and why our bodies handle it safely. MSG has had a bad reputation for decades, but science shows it's mostly harmless and widely present in everyday foods. So cook, season, and enjoy your meals with confidence. Flavor is not your enemy, and chemistry is on your side. Have you ever wondered if wrapping your food in aluminum foil is safe? Some people say aluminum is toxic. Don't cook with it. Sounds alarming, but is it really true? Let's take a calm look at the chemistry and the science behind foil. Think about your kitchen. You stir, preparing leftovers. You wrap a sandwich in foil. Or maybe you line a baking pan with foil to roast vegetables. It's convenient, it keeps food fresh, and it's part of everyday life. But somewhere along the way you may have heard, aluminum is dangerous. It leaches into your food. Suddenly, a simple kitchen habit feels suspicious. Let's break down what's really happening, step by step. Aluminum is a metal, and it's one of the most common elements on Earth. When you use foil, a tiny amount of aluminum can react with acidic foods, things like tomato sauce, citrus, or vinegar-based marinades. This reaction can release a small amount of aluminum into the food. But here's the key point. Our bodies handle small amounts of aluminum very efficiently. Most of the aluminum we ingest is naturally occurring. It's in water, vegetables, and even some baking powders. So cooking with foil only slightly increases your exposure, usually well below any level of concern. For most people, this is completely safe. Aluminum foil is dangerous, and cooking with it causes health problems. The truth is more nuanced. Yes, aluminum can leach slightly into food, mostly when cooking acidic ingredients. Most people already consume more aluminum naturally from everyday sources than they would from foil. Scientific studies show no convincing link between normal dietary aluminum and serious health problems. Concerns sometimes come from research into aluminum and neurological diseases, like Alzheimer's, but the studies have not proven that typical aluminum exposure from foil or food causes these conditions. So, for most people, using foil in normal cooking is safe. What should you actually do? Use foil normally for roasting, baking, or storing food. If you're cooking something highly acidic for a long time, consider using a glass or ceramic dish instead. Avoid scrubbing food directly with foil or storing leftovers in foil for weeks. These are extreme cases, not everyday use. The main idea, moderation, and context matter. Foil is convenient, safe, and chemistry helps explain why. You don't need to fear it, just use it thoughtfully. Aluminum foil is not an enemy in your kitchen. Understanding chemistry helps us separate fear from fact. Use foil wisely, enjoy your meals, and remember, science is on your side when you cook smart. Have you ever looked at your water bottle and wondered, are the plastics leaking chemicals into my water? Some people worry about BPA or other hidden toxins. Sounds alarming, but is it really something to fear? Let's take a calm, clear look at the science. Think about your daily routine. You grab your reusable water bottle in the morning. Maybe you refill it several times. You carry it to work, the gym, or on a walk. It's such convenient. It keeps you hydrated. And for most of us, it's part of everyday life. But somewhere along the way, you may have heard plastic bottles leach chemicals, they sit or harmful. Suddenly, your simple habit feels complicated. Let's just break down what's actually happening. Most concerns focus on BPA, or bisphenol A, a chemical used in some plastics. BPA can mimic hormones in lab experiments. That sounds scary, but context is everything. Here's just the important part. Modern bottles labeled BPA free do not contain this chemical. And even for older bottles, the small amount of BPA that might leach into water is far below levels that could affect health in typical use. Plastic can also release microplastics, tiny particles that come off from repeated use. These are detectable in water, but studies so far show that the amount is very small and unlikely to pose a health risk. Your body is very good at handling tiny exposures, and most of the chemical worries come from lab studies with much higher concentrations than you'd ever encounter in drinking water from a bottle. Every time you drink from a plastic bottle, you're consuming dangerous chemicals. Most modern reusable bottles are BPA-free and safe for everyday use. Small chemical leaching occurs, especially if bottles are left in heat, like a hot car, but exposure is minimal. Scientific studies have not found clear evidence that normal use causes health problems. Yes, chemicals are present in tiny amounts, but remember, dose and frequency matter. Your exposure from a bottle is far lower than levels shown to cause harm in lab studies. What should you actually do? Use BPA-free bottles when possible. Wash your bottle regularly with warm water and soap. Avoid leaving plastic bottles in hot environments for long periods. If you want extra caution, consider glass or stainless steel bottles. Otherwise, just drink your water. There's no reason to panic or stop using your bottle. Chemistry helps us understand exposure, but it doesn't mean we need to fear everyday use. Plastic water bottles are convenient and generally safe. Understanding chemistry keeps us calm and informed. So, drink up, stay hydrated, and remember, science is your friend. Even when it comes to plastics, chemistry is all around us. In the food we eat, the drinks we drink, and the way we cook. It's easy to feel anxious when we hear words like chemicals, toxins, or dangerous. But understanding the science helps us separate fact from fear. Most everyday exposures, whether it's a slightly dark toast, microwave popcorn, MSG, aluminum foil, or a plastic water bottle, are safe in moderation. The key is not to panic, but to use common sense and balance. Enjoy your food and drinks. Pay attention to cooking methods and storage. Make small, simple choices that reduce unnecessary exposure. Science is not here to scare us. It's here to guide us, to keep us informed, and even to help us enjoy life more. So whether you're toasting bread, popping popcorn, seasoning your meal, wrapping leftovers, or sipping water, you can do it calmly, confidently, and wisely. Remember, chemistry is your friend, and understanding it makes life safer and more enjoyable.